What is up, guys? This is the Overleveled podcast, episode 35. And of course, we have Inspector and Marvel DC fan. Talati is not here. He just is, quite tired, hasn't been getting a lot of sleep. So he will not be on this episode. Hopefully, he will be on in the next one. And we have a couple of topics to talk about. And firstly, I guess we're going to talk about quickly. We've heard rumors, speculations that EA will be making another Battlefield game. People have been saying Battlefield 5, Battlefield Bad Company 2, something along the lines. And we got from the official Twitter from Battlefield with a tweet having a V-shaped sign from like the lines making the V. Hashtag Battlefield V, Battlefield 5. And they had an attached image saying Battlefield 5 live reveal May 23rd, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. CET time. For me, I've been somewhat of a Battlefield fan, but, I don't know when this game's coming out. If it comes out this year, I will not be buying it this year because I got other games I want to play. Kind of like I'm on the same boat with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Just like there's Spider-Man the week before, and then I want to get Red Dead 2. So I'm not really like going like, oh my gosh, gotta play it. So for me, Battlefield 5. If you like Battlefield, you'll like Battlefield 5, right? If I had an option to pick Battlefield or COD, I'll pick Battlefield. But other than that, we got the announcement for that Marvel DC fan. What do you think about this announcement?
Well, like you, I'm somewhat of a Battlefield fan. I started very recently with Battlefield 1, and I've kind of just been going backwards and playing the other games. I'm interested, but at the same time, if it's coming out this year, I think I'll probably just wait because, there's already enough games coming out this year that I'm super excited about, so
yeah. What about you, Inspector? What do you think about this news?
It's okay. I haven't played Battlefield since Battlefield 3, and I liked Battlefield 3. I just haven't gotten around. I really wanted to try out Battlefield 1 because Battlefield 1 looks really good. I heard really good things about it. I just never got around to it just because there's so many games that year that came out. And that was 2016, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And it came out 3 weeks after Uncharted 4, and I was still deep in Uncharted 4, so I'm like, I'll just wait. And I never got around to it. So I'm I don't think this year would be the opportune time to... I think what they're going to do is that they're going to do what they did with Battlefield 1 and just release it in March of next year. I don't think it would be smart to release it this year just because Call of Duty is pretty much on their time schedule this year. Because usually they release their games mid to late October, and that's what Call of Duty is doing this year. So I don't think it's smart for them to release this year. And
plus, there's other games as well, so it's a hard year to put out the game because you got Spider-Man, Spyro, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Red Dead 2, Call of Duty, and maybe other potential games, and hopefully and Kingdom Hearts 3. Hopefully there's just not going to be more, because I'm going to feel bad because one of these games is not going to sell well once the games start to be overcrowded in that time frame of September through the holiday season. But next we have okay, so I guess no, we're gonna actually leave that for later. Shenmue 3. Shenmue, we've known, is getting a port. It's coming out this year, PS4, PC, and I forgot when the port is coming. Oh, here we go. Will return this year. However, Sega is re-releasing Shenmue 1, 2 for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. And I believe, like, let me check real quick. But I believe they were saying that this game, these two ports are coming out this year yet again, which makes it more, I guess, hard in the time frame. And hopefully, the game gets a lot of good sales because it's gonna be hard in terms of when the port's gonna come out. But I'll be getting it. But it's coming out. It was scheduled to arrive in December 2017, Shenmue 3, at one point being pushed back to the second half of 2018. And now it's going to be coming out in 2019, which they want to take that extra time to polish the quality of the game even further. And you know what? I am fine with them doing that. I want the game to be good. And Shenmue 3 is very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. And I've seen people like cry about Shenmue and stuff like that when Shenmue 3 was announced. And this was like during, like, Shenmue came out in the Dreamcast era when, Sega used to make consoles, right? This was a while ago. I think even before I think I was born by then. But I wasn't really, maybe it was a little bit less. I have no idea. But for me, I'll be, checking out the ports, playing Shenmue 3. I did hear the voice acting back then. The voice acting is kind of cringy. So my thoughts of Shenmue 3 needs to be different voice actors, better voice acting, because back then it was acceptable. Now it's just like, it's not acceptable because we've come far and ahead in terms of voice acting for video games. So yeah, hopefully they take that into account. So what do you think, Marvel DC fan, about Shenmue 3 in general? Shenmue 1, 2 coming out this year with the ports, PlayStation 4, PC, and also what do you think about the delay and the voice acting? Yeah, talk about that too.
Well, I'm excited because, around 8 years ago or something like that, we used to have a friend of ours, of the family, who we used to go over, and he had a bunch of old consoles, and he had a Dreamcast, and if we weren't playing Sonic Adventure and all that kind of stuff, we played a lot of games, and one of them was Shenmue. We didn't play it as much as the others, but I remember it was, like, we had fun with it. So I'm actually kind of excited to see the re-releasing the first 2 games plus 3. And I'm also kind of excited to see what kind of updates they'll make to the game in terms of, like, graphics and voice acting. So I'm excited.
Yeah. For, like, with the Shenmue 3 having the voice acting, because 1 and 2, I think they're going to keep 1 and 2's voice acting because it's going to be hard to, change, like, the lip sync and stuff like that. But, it'll be easier with different voice actors for 3. But do you remember hearing the voice acting in, like, 1 or 2 when playing it?
It's been so long since I played it. I don't exactly remember what it was, but I remember if, like, we played it now, it would be very dated.
Yeah, like hella cringy. Yeah, and I was like saying that I think they should not hire the original voice actors. I don't think so. I think they just need to get brand new voice acting talent for Shenmue 3.
Yeah, just get the Shenmue 3 cast and have them redo their lines from the games.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be, if they brought back all those original lines, it would be kind of super cringy to new players nowadays, because this was a time where like voice acting in video games was like somewhat of a new thing. They haven't really nailed it yet. So
Yeah, and 3 is because 3 is supposed to, like, I know the director wanted to make 3 for some reason. Sega never wanted to do it, and then they got the director got his opportunity so many years later, and now he's doing Shenmue 3, and I personally think don't get the original voice actors unless they come a long ways in terms of voice acting, and they're able to not make it cringe. But if not, just get new voice actors for Shenmue 3 to succeed the original Shenmue 1 and 2 voice actors.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the best case scenario.
Yeah. Inspector, what do you think about this news? I know you're probably not well versed into Shenmue, but you think because the level of cringe in Shenmue 1 and 2 with voice acting, because back then, the voice acting was really bad, but you think they should, get new voice actors and whatnot for 3?
Yeah, I think they should, because I think the first Shenmue came out in like 99, and the second one came out in like 01 or 02.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really into JRPGs that much. They don't really connect to me that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm happy for all the Shenmue fans, but for me it just doesn't really matter. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if we remember watching the Microsoft press conference, I think the opening was either Forza. No, I think it might have been Metro Exodus. So what happened with Metro Exodus was E3 2017 was revealed in the Microsoft press conference, but now, and it looked really good. I won't lie about that, but it's also coming to PS4, PC. They're delaying this game to 2019. It's supposed to be I guess a mix between Fallout 4, but better gunplay and better story. So, but overall, I have the games. I have Metro Exodus, a couple of the games on Steam. Haven't played it yet, so I can't really make a comment, but I liked what I saw from the gameplay that was shown at Microsoft's press conference. And yeah, this game, again, the same thing I have to say for the Shenmue 3, delay is essentially, they need to fix the bugs, maybe add more things, and make the game better. And I've always said, delaying a game will not hurt your game. It will make it better. And I will always stand by that set of belief. And I think that developers need to start delaying games more, because we're getting games that are glitched, not doing much. And hopefully people will listen. Marvel DC fan, what do you think about this news for Metro Exodus?
I don't think it's on my sort of list, but it's one of those kind of games that I'm willing to try out anyways. So that's all I'll really say about that.
All right. Inspector, what do you think about the delay? You think it's going to help the game out, or you think it's going to not do much?
Oh, I think it's definitely going to help the game out, because I don't like when people say, "Oh, the game is delayed. It's such a bad thing," when it's not. Because you want the company to create the best game possible, and to create the best game possible, you need to have as much time as possible to create that game. So this, if anything, just makes me more excited for it, or more looking forward to it. Even though you have to wait longer for it, you get a better game.
Yeah.
And I've never played the Metro games. I've heard 2033 was okay, but I heard Last Light was really good.
Yeah.
And Exodus looks cool. And it does kind of look like Fallout, but a better Fallout. Because Fallout always looks really stiff to me.
That and and it also looks dated. Fallout always looks dated.
All Bethesda games look dated, because they keep using the same engine, a 10-year-old engine that they used for Oblivion. And Bethesda games don't really like. The only Bethesda game I've liked, like in the last like 5 years, is Dishonored, and that wasn't even like Bethesda internally. That was Bethesda and Arcane Studios.
Oh yeah, yeah. Bethesda, like they publish games, and they're not the Bethesda developers making those games. The Bethesda like developers that make games are games like Skyrim and Fallout.
That they keep repurposing for some reason. Skyrim. I don't get why they keep repurposing it.
So like games like this, games like Evil Within 2, Dishonored, Prey, and also even Rage and Doom. Those games are not created by the Bethesda development team. That is created by their. Those are the games that they publish. Now, it gets into the point where those are their development teams. They own those studios, but it's not the actual like Bethesda development team that they Bethesda originally started out with as a company. So yeah, all right. So go into the next set of news and Boss Key Studio. These are the people that created Lawbreakers and Radical Heights. Are being closed down. Cliffy B is like the studio head, said essentially that, the games didn't do well, right? Lawbreakers did really, really bad for them. Radical Heights was kind of like their last ditch effort, and it was kind of too late at that point. So now the studio is being closed down. People are losing their jobs, and it's really, really bad. And I wish that their publisher talked about like this like original concept that Cliffy B had, and it looked really, really cool. What I have to say there, huh?
For what?
The game like
Radical Heights.
No. Dragonflies.
Oh, Dragonflies. Okay, you didn't say the game name.
Yeah, I was about to say that. So he was essentially saying, "Here's one of the games I want to do. Codename Dragonflies. Basically, you're ninja/samurai in airships riding dragons, fighting zombies with friends in a PvE feudal punk setting on floating islands. The airships equal your aircraft carriers, dragons equal your planes. You use melee and guns and could outfit your beast for combat. Basically, do for dragon riding what Halo did for vehicles. It showed some player characters, which was cool, and you were able to find dragon eggs, hatch them, and raise them. And, they had different dragon eggs, like quick, medium, and tank. So those are, like, your different, like, vehicles. Like, you have one that's fast, you have one that's balanced, you have one that's very tanky but slow, right? And the plan was to learn from the mistakes of Lair/Scalebound, which was cool. Side note was $50 million budget, so not cheap. Basically, the never-ending story / Danny / How to Train Your Dragon fantasy. Would have loved a VR companion app where you can feed and pet the beast too. Yes, it was pitched to Microsoft, Sony, EA, 2K, Activision. Nada. Sad face. Oh, and WB. And that made me so damn sad to hear that, because it was such a cool concept that I would have loved to see. And, he had to create the studio, and with one of the publishers he's with, right? They were more comfortable with a game that's Lawbreakers and not a brand new game that could redefine, like, create its own genre, right? Of gaming. And that's what I wish we get more of, because Lawbreakers, no offense, is a ripoff of, Overwatch. And it seems like companies like to rip off other companies because it's the safe route, right? Like Battle Royale. Rip off that, company needs to greenlight it no matter what. But games like Dragonflies, it doesn't get greenlight by any of those companies.
Like Battleborn was a ripoff of Overwatch, and it did terribly for Gearbox. Like that game was dead within the first month.
Yeah, and I was like surprised. Not even nothing. Microsoft didn't greenlight it. Sony, nothing. EA, nothing. 2K, Activision, nothing. WB, nothing. WB should have greenlight that shit, to be honest, because there's not many games coming out, from under them right now. or not as much. And I wish, I really wish it. But guys, what do you think about Cliffy B's studio being closed down, the games that they've made, and I guess Cliffy B's game that he really wanted to work on, and he showed artwork with it, and it looked really, really cool. So I guess we'll start off with Marvel DC fan.
It's upsetting seeing these developers shut down, but it's hard when it comes to video games because you want to cash on what's popular, so you kind of are somewhat inspired by another game like Overwatch, but consumers know when it's hard to explain, but it's upsetting when you have an amazing idea for a game and no company wants to greenlight it or something like that, and potentially it could be a huge hit. So it's upsetting, and it kind of shows that these companies, especially Warner Brothers, should take interest in these ideas, because it could be a huge hit in the long run, but they just don't know it.
Yeah. What about you, Inspector? What do you think?
Yeah, kind of in the same vein as Marvel DC fan, where it sucks that all these developers are closing, especially with a guy like Cliffy B, who is really passionate about gaming, because he was part of Epic, and then he broke off from Epic because wasn't he the creative director of Epic during
he was the creative director when he made Gears of War. I think it was all three or maybe all two. I don't know. Which one.
And did he leave or did he get fired?
No, he left. He left to make his own studio.
Yeah, he left, and then they made Lawbreakers, which didn't do that well, and that concept that you talked about, Dragonfly, sounds really cool.
Mm.
It sounds like a really cool concept.
And it sounded like a project he was super passionate about. I don't think Lawbreakers and Radical Heights was something he was passionate about. I'm more of what the publishers wanted him to do or cash in on.
Yeah, because they were trying to follow the trends. Mm-hmm. Because with Lawbreakers, it was Overwatch, and Lawbreakers is a battle royale game, isn't it?
No. Lawbreakers was Overwatch. Radical Heights was battle royale.
Yeah, Radical Heights was basically PUBG and those games. Fortnite. Yeah, mm-hmm. So they're just following trends where this game, a very like you said, a passion project for Cliffy B, and then they just closed. So hopefully Cliffy B can find either create another studio or join another studio or something. She's
I would like to see one of these publishers, greenlight this. You know what I mean? Because this is a fresh new idea, and I would like to see these brand new fresh ideas, because a lot of people will probably play this game. Honestly, I would probably have more fun with this type of idea in game. Now this is in constant now, but I would say from these ideas more than I would with a game like Fortnite and Overwatch.
Yeah,
this would be my type of game, but that's just me. Okay, so now actually there's one more gaming news before we get into Sony's E3 press conference, and that is we're going to talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider's budget, because it is kind of insane. Because I don't know what Square Enix does with how they manage their money. But I don't know, man. It was this budget was more than the movie. But okay, let's talk about it. Okay, so Shadow of the Tomb Raider budget is reportedly $75 million to $100 million. Eidos Montreal's boss David Anfonsi has revealed that Shadow of the Tomb Raider is costing between $75 million and $100 million to develop, with an extra $35 million thrown on top for marketing. That is insane. And he says, so there's definitely a pressure. We cannot avoid it, but at the same time, for us to have the incubation projects and try small things that gives us the opportunity to test, prepare, and secure some stuff and remove some risks. The topic of whether a AAA single player games can survive without microtransaction or some form of online experience is a valid one, and we asked it ourselves. Online for me does not mean we forget the single player experience. It could be part of the experience, or it might mean we might try multiplayer things at the same time, Anvanzi said. So it seems like Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is probably going to have microtransactions. I don't know. Not surprised. Yet again, Square Enix does this. I think they did this with like the last Tomb Raider, I believe. Could be wrong. But that's kind of insane. So their budget is 75 to 100, and that's not including the extra $35 million for marketing, which yet again, why the heck are you spending $35 million on marketing is beyond me. Because yet again, I have not been seeing that much marketing for, Tomb Raider yet. So let's see if that money is going to be put to good use, because I don't think $35 million. You're like getting like, I feel like this is already getting to like movie budget, dude. Like in terms of doing all this, and then, dude, the budget for the actual Tomb Raider movie that just recently came out is smaller than this. So I find this quite insane. I don't know what to say. I'm flabbergasted. I'm lost of words with the amount of money that's being put into this game, because you got games like Uncharted 4 that is cheaper, and it seems like the money is handled in a better way than the Tomb Raider franchise. And then Square is always wondering, always saying that their Tomb Raider games don't do well. It's because of how much money you're putting into it. And I feel like you could save money and have good talent and make a good game rather than pulling in so much money. I'm just, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's crazy. What do you think, Inspector?
As you said it, I find it crazy that they're spending this much money on this game, especially since this is like the big game that they're working on at the moment. And as you said, like the movie was cheaper, and like I think the problem with Square and Square is that they spend too much money on these games, and the games don't sell that well. Because the problem with Rise is that they made it a timed exclusive, which really hurt the sales.
Mm-hmm. And then when it came to PlayStation 4, no one cared.
Yeah, no one cared. I don't think Final Fantasy 15 did that well. And that game was, like all Final Fantasy games, are really expensive, and they never do that well because Final Fantasy is a really niche audience. So, like, it's a really small audience, but it's a very vocal audience, Final Fantasy. Same thing with Deus Ex. Like, Deus Ex Mankind Divided was a really expensive game, and that game didn't do that well sales-wise, which sucks. But it's true. So, I think they just need to cut back on their budgets, and yeah, just cut back on their budget.
What do you think, Marvel DC fan?
I mean, I feel the same as you guys. Like, that's just insane for a budget. But, like, yeah, like, the problem with Square is that, like, they put a lot, like, way too much money than it needs to be into these projects, and they don't really sell well. So, like, Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, that sort of thing. But, like, I'll be surprised if this game even makes some money back with a budget like that. So, but I mean, like, it all depends on the quality of the game. So hopefully, the closer we get to it, maybe my interest will get back into it, because I know the movie sure like did nothing for it. Like, so.
All right, so the last video game topic we have is coming from Sean Layden himself, the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment of North America. He basically said they're going to focus on four big games that Sony is, publishing, and that is Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man. And we're going to get a deep dive into those titles, which kind of, kind of destroyed some of my predictions earlier of me saying that we're going to get a Spider-Man gameplay or sizzle reel. It seems now when they mean like deep dive, you're going to get a trailer along with, a demo with the game. And that's what they mean about the deep dive. And they also said they're going to focus on, the AAA, marketing deals along with indies. And I would also think, a couple surprises. Now, I don't think they're going to be like big surprises. I don't think you're going to see, you're not going to see anything with Guerrilla Studio games. You're not going to see anything having to do with Sony Santa Monica, because they're basically, Guerrilla has just started, working on their new game, which could be Killzone or could be Horizon 2, Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Thinking more along the lines of Horizon Zero Dawn 2. That won't be anytime soon. That'll be a PS5 title. And and then also Ghost of Tsushima. I've been seeing on Twitter Hideo Kojima editing a trailer for the game. I also think there will be a gameplay demo that will show the gameplay mechanics for Death Stranding. And I'm thinking, and I'll also say this, I think, Emma Stone might be a part of the game. I think we're going to see something having to do with her role in it, with these rumors going around for this game. And hey, man, Sony is helping Hideo Kojima greatly, dude, because he's getting these like top tier actors. He's getting like Mads Mikkelsen. He's having also Norman Reedus as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Emma Stone like popped up in this game, playing a character. And overall, I also think Last of Us Part 2 with a deep dive, we'll have that gameplay demo. I'm thinking these gameplay demos will range from like 8 to 10 minutes or maybe more, and then, some couple surprises could be like Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry 5 and something like that. And then you got maybe Red Dead 2 trailer along with, Call of Duty and their marketing deals with other people and some indie supports along with PlayStation VR, right? But what do we think about them focusing on these big four titles and saying, emphasizing this deep dive into them? Are we surprised that they're going to do a deep dive? Because I know some of us were saying that Spider-Man was going to have like a scissor reel or something like that. And they were, kind of emphasizing with these titles that possibly, demos for these games, right? We'll start off with Inspector.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they're doing this deep dive thing, especially with like Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima is a really surprising one that they would go into so in depth, because that game was just announced like 4 months ago, like 3 months ago, and like I'm hyped for it. Like any game by Sucker Punch, I'm looking forward to, and I don't know what really like in-depth means. I don't know if it just means like there's a demo and like a little like dev interview afterwards, like they asked the devs about something. But I don't really know what that entails. But I feel like it's interesting, and I really can't even though I'm going to miss their conference, as I'm going to be working that night, I'm looking forward to watching the replay on the PlayStation YouTube channel the morning after.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Marvel DC fan?
I mean, I'm excited. I really am. There's like 3 games that like I'm mostly like looking forward to seeing again, like Last of Us Part Two and Death Stranding and uh, Ghost of Tsushima, something like that. I'm surprised that like they include Spider-Man in that since we had a full month coverage from Game Informer. But uh, I mean, I'm still excited for the conference itself. I don't know if I'm watch the thing live. Maybe I'll just play it on replay in the morning. So who knows? But I am excited to see what they have in store and how deep of a dive it actually will be.
Uh, so, I guess now the question: who, or let's say, what game will have like the biggest attraction slash appeal slash like having everyone talking about the game? Do you think that'll be from the 4 games? Of course, you think it's going to be Ghost of Tsushima, Spider Man, uh, Last of Us Part Two, or Death Stranding? And I'll go first, and I'll say this: I'm gonna be like the like wild, like big wild underdog here, and say Death Stranding. I know everyone's probably gonna say The Last of Us Part Two. That everyone's gonna be talking a lot about because it already has this big fan base, and I can see when people say that, but I'm gonna say Death Stranding because everyone talked about Death Stranding. Everyone doesn't know what it is. No one's seen any gameplay, and hearing Hideo Kojima say like this is genre defining, this is changing genres of video games because we don't have many games changing genres of video games. So I would like to see that gameplay, and I think that I believe what he says because he made stealth games. He was the dude that changed the genre of action to stealth. And I think that he'll do the same with this game. But yeah, guys, which one do you think is going to have the biggest like mass appeal, or the biggest like after seeing all the gameplay, everyone's going to come out talking most about? We'll start off with Marvel DC fan.
I'm on the same page with you. Like, I feel that Death Stranding will probably get people talking more since, like, a lot of people they don't really know too much about the game. They're like they haven't really seen much of anything. There's been a couple trailers, but like it's pretty much been left to the imagination of like what the game possibly is. So I'm yeah, if it's between for me it's between Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding. I think
All right.
like the big underdogs here. So.
What do you think, Inspector? Who do you think is going to have that big, have like everyone talking about?
It's so hard because there's like 4 big games. I'm gonna discount Spider-Man. I'm not like counting it totally out, but I think with all that Game Informer coverage, it kind of like puts it down a bit. I think we're all on the same page with Death Stranding. I think it's going to have a big showcase, and people are just going to be like even after the PSX footage, like that was just like what?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Then, like what was going on there? And then I think E3 is just going to be like more screwy, like mind screwy,
Mm-hmm.
and like I think Ghost of Tsushima is going to be the dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that game. That's awesome.
I'm surprised like no one said Last of Us because like I think the reason why no one's going to say Last of Us is because with sequels, right? We know like I guess the gameplay mechanics, unless they drastically change the gameplay. I think they're going to improve the gameplay mechanics and add some new things, but I don't think it's to that point where everyone's talking about like these other games that have these like they're brand new IPs, totally different game mechanics. So it's like I guess that's like the reason for it. Unless you guys want to chime in and say anything else with that.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to say something?
Well, I was gonna say like it's gonna get like some buzz, but I feel like Death Stranding, since like we haven't even seen like any gameplay and stuff like that, and like people don't know much about it, like what it's trying to be. I think like that'll create more sort of hype for it. And with Last of Us, it's like how I feel it is that like you, I feel it is basically like it will improve on what made the first one great while adding some new features to it. I think that is basically what you should do in terms of like making a sequel. So that's what I'll say about it.
I'll say make a prediction that I think there's going to be some vicious violence in The Last of Us demo or gameplay, right? I think it's going to be some, because like Last of Us like already is like a pretty violent game, and like when shooting like blowing somebody's head off and like it's like legit like off, right? Crazy.
Yeah, you're shooting people's heads off and you're like stabbing shivs and like other weapons into their heads, and it's a pretty like violent game. So
yeah, I think they're gonna show something like pretty violent for that. But overall, I guess we're gonna do like a transition question, right? And like because everyone's talking Rocksteady, Superman. I'm gonna do something interesting, and I know you guys don't have to opt in and say this potential thing. I'm saying like, do we think that Rocksteady will succeed with a Superman game? And why I say that is because I've said this in multiple podcasts. Like this is a daunting task, right? They could have made a Wonder Woman game, and I felt like that would have been, I guess, like the best choice in terms of gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. I feel like that's way less daunting than a Superman game, right? Then we said in the past, right? Flash, that's way out there. That's even out there than Superman. Same thing
Green
with
Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern is even way out, even more.
Yeah. So like for me, because I love like the Arkham series, except for Arkham Origins is like, I guess you say like that child that we don't speak about, right? So I really want them to succeed, and this is me having low expectations because Superman is just so hard, like me. I can't even comprehend like gameplay mechanics to make it good. You know what I mean? Because like it's hard. It's hard, and I'm gonna say, in terms of people seeing it, in terms of maybe critical reception, I think it's gonna be met with like. I hope to be wrong. I'm gonna say mixed. I think that it's a very daunting task. What do you think, Inspector? Like, give your honest opinions.
It's hard because with Superman, you're gonna have to change the gameplay up so much. You're gonna have to incorporate flying, and like the combat is gonna be different, and like how are you gonna switch between the different visions, and how are the visions going to be like, and like the frost breath and like all that stuff. Like that's gonna be hard to balance. I think Rocksteady can do it. I think since all of their Arkham games were pretty much critically praised, like Knight was like on the lower end, but it was still like praised. It still got like 8 out of 10s. It's the lowest rated out of the Arkham games, but
Except
like
for
out of their
Arkham Origins.
trilogy.
Arkham Origins
I'm talking about of their trilogy.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it was like the lowest rated out of their trilogy. Like, City is like number 1, and then Asylum, and then Night.
Yeah.
I would probably do that ranking as well. I would probably put Night and Asylum on even footing because they both have like their like pros and cons.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting But like from the leak, which of course take with a grain of salt, I think that it would be hard not to make a Superman game without like a lot of destruction. Like
Yeah.
like they say, oh, it's gonna be like Arkham Knight, where it's like a little bit of destruction, but like not buildings falling over. Like I don't say like destroy the whole city like Man of Steel, but like
But wouldn't that even be harder with like a villain with Brainiac? You know what I mean?
yeah, because Brainiac like bottles up the city. So
So yeah.
yeah, like that would be hard. But and plus like the side missions would be like totally different. And like I feel Rocksteady can pull it off and still make like a greatly received game, but it's gonna be hard. Like harder than Batman, because
Yeah. Batman, like
Batman
yeah.
is easy, kind of.
I mean,
Like
yeah.
I don't want to say
Like
it's easy
yeah.
because they messed up so many times with Batman games over the years until Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
But like Dark Tomorrow, like we don't even talk about Dark Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Tomorrow was so bad.
Oh God.
I got I I opened up some repressed memories with Marvel DC fan.
Oh, you did.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Never
so,
speak about it again.
yeah, I won't.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's like for me, I just go in with low expectations, try to be like, oh snap, because like what I've said, right? And it's different for a movie format than a video game, right? Like Superman is a brawler that has heat vision, and, frost breath, cold breath, and like that is a better movie format. You know what I mean? He's a brawler. He's not like a Batman. He's not a Lady Shiva.
Yeah.
He's not someone with sophisticated move sets. Because it's because of his strength.
I mean, kind of, but like he's also smart.
Yeah, he's smart. But like in terms of gameplay mechanics, wouldn't it
Yeah.
just be like it's hard to translate over because like some people would just be like, oh, we want like gameplay sophisticated and the levels of Arkham.
I mean, Arkham isn't really that sophisticated. It's just like rhythm.
Oh yeah, I know, but you know what I mean. Like having different moves. It's like it's harder to have like different animations for Superman punching and stuff like that to make it more varied. That's like the issue is like it's harder for
even with Arkham they still have like even like all the takedowns, there's like a cycle of like 10 or 15 takedowns and like a lot of the same ones.
Yeah. And then I'll have one more question after this after Marvel DC fan answers. What do you think, Marvel? You think what do you think Rocksteady's game is going to be met with? Like even like by the end product or gameplay if shown?
I feel that like I trust that Rocksteady could pull it off, but knowing like the kind of character that Superman is and like looking back on what's been done before in video games and like they're trying to do something that nobody has ever like accomplished, and that is make a good Superman game. But I think like the hardest thing is like in terms of Superman is like getting the power set, all that down, and like the kind of side missions and stuff like that. Because like you want to feel powerful, but you're limited because it's a video game. So there's that balance that has to be met. I said this in the last podcast. Like there's that balance that needs to be met where you feel powerful, but it's also like it's not complicated. Like you have to feel comfortable being basically a god. So yeah, like in all, if anything, like me, I'm going in with low expectations. So hopefully they'll make a good product, and finally we'll get a good Superman game.
Yeah. And I guess the last topic for this would be a question for this. Do we think that because of Wonder Woman and the amount of praise that it has gotten through the movie sphere, right? That if the Wonder Woman movie, same everything, came out before Arkham Knight, do you think Rocksteady would have made a Wonder Woman game before Superman game? We'll start with Inspector.
I don't think so, because Superman has always been a passion project for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they would still make the Superman game. Yeah. For the Wonder Woman game, like, I don't know who would make a Wonder Woman game. It's hard. Yeah, like, I think, like, if anything, like, I can't even think of a studio that can make it. That would be hard, especially like around 2015, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
That would be hard.
Well, I was saying like around 2014, 2015. It would be like after Arkham Knight. Like then it would be made. You know, like in that same time frame.
Yeah, I get it.
Made.
Yeah, but I feel they would still do Superman because it's a passion project.
Yeah.
For them.
I've said this, that Monolith Studio I think could do it. It's just, you know, in terms of like sword combat, I feel like would be there. Lasso would be there. It's just jumping and in a bigger world.
Yeah.
With a good side quests. And I feel like they're able to do that. With also, you know, good writing. I said that with Monolith Studios. They do have to change. I don't think parkour would be a thing for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
So they would get rid of that. But I think everything else, I don't know if they should, you know, just have Wonder Woman be able to do big jumps or something like that. They could. But but what do you think, Marvel DC fan? You think if Wonder Woman came out that year, that you think Rocksteady would have been like, oh, let's do Wonder Woman?
I mean, there's always like, there could have been like, I mean, there's a possibility that it might have happened, and I'm surprised, like, even now that like nobody has thought of like doing a Wonder Woman game since since, you know, she's pretty much like one of the best things going for the DCEU right now. So I feel like capitalizing on her popularity as of now, like making a video game, like that would be, you know, kind of cool. So
yeah, and I've said
like,
you're going,
but like back then, like 2014, 2015-ish, like I'll say like that's probably like a maybe, but it's about finding that like if not Rocksteady, then it's like finding another developer that can handle someone like that. So
yeah, I said this, you know, I feel Wonder Woman would have been a less daunting task. Yeah, because I feel like Rocksteady would have been able to make a really good Green Arrow game, a really good Wonder Woman game. Who else would I think Rocksteady would do a good job for in the DC realm of video games? I think
like any street level hero. Green Arrow and Black Canary. You already said Green Arrow though.
Yeah, I even said like I think Wonder Woman they would be able to get that down. It's just getting to Superman and Green Lantern and Flash is to the point where
I think Green Lantern is just way too difficult for studios to do. Like I would love a Green Lantern game. It would be way too difficult.
Mm-hmm.
With like all the constructs and like space.
Yeah.
Well, I think like that's the problem with doing a Green Lantern game is that like you have a character that's limited by imagination, but like it's a video game, so like how do you make that work?
Yeah, and then
I mean you can make it like Mass Effect, but even then that's like very limited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. It's hard because I'm thinking about that and it's just like even Flash, it's like you're the fastest man alive. and somebody does a robbery, you're able to take them out quick.
Yeah.
You know?
Like the game would be way too easy.
Yeah. And then, facing another speedster, then that'll just be because you're going so fast, they're going so fast, it's kind of like same speed wise. It'll seem like you're not going fast, but you are. And that's like also hard.
If it's like the show or the comics, it would be like they're going just a little bit faster. So you have to go just that tiny bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to go so fast, faster than he's ever gone before.
Yeah.
to beat the speedster.
Run, Barry, run.
Same thing with the TV show. Oh gosh, it brings me flashbacks, dude. All right, so I guess we're gonna go into TV shows now, and then we're gonna go into movies later. So TV shows, Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, they've all been renewed. And good word, Flash is just getting to this point where I've been seeing people just like, dude, whoever this showrunner is, get him off. I'm really like, dude, it's the same showrunner since like season 1. So it's like, you can't. Oh, but what do we think? I know. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Supergirl. Arrow, I've said my stand. So what do we think in general about these renewals? Do we think that when's enough? When should we just say, okay, that this is too many seasons? Are we going to get there with Arrow already? Because it's going to go on its 7th season. Are we going to like run out of villains to this point? Like, what's happening here? We'll start with you, Inspector.
I just feel like that's a problem with all CW shows. Like, Supernatural has been going on for 14 seasons.
Dude, I think that show got renewed as well. I'm pretty sure.
I know it got renewed, but it's only going to last for like 13 episodes because they're canceling it at the 300th episode.
Really, they are actually.
They're canceling it like halfway through the season.
I'm surprised this time.
Yeah, they're finally ending Supernatural after 14 years.
Is it because of like they wanted to get us to 300 episodes, or do you think the viewership wasn't there?
No, the viewership, the fan base for Supernatural is like very hardcore.
Okay, so you think also the actors were probably like, dude, we've done this for 14, like about almost 14 years. I think we can call it quit.
I think Jensen Ackles just like, I think I'm done. I played the same character for 14 years. I think it's time to go. I'm not surprised just because these are the highest viewed and most popular shows on the CW minus Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped Flash. I dropped Legends. I just got bored of Legends because it was the same thing over and over again. Same thing with Flash. I've been liking Arrow even though this like 2-team subplot has kind of gone a little bit too far.
I feel like Arrow, from what I'm hearing, is like they're not taking like. I felt like they did so like these big risks with deaths and stuff like that. Season 1 and 2 wise, right? And like, I guess you can say season 4, but season 4 was a mediocre. No, not mediocre. It was just bad.
Like season 5 was good.
Yeah.
Like the first half or like the first like 2/3 of season 6 was really good, but now it's just like going on.
And we're having like all these new characters as well for like Arrow, and it's just like.
And I feel the problem is with Arrow is that every season ends with an army invading.
That's true. I mean,
an army invading Star City.
Well, except for season 5, I'll say that. So, except for season.
Didn't season 5 have an army? Like this one is going to have an army.
No, season 5 was the island.
Oh yeah. Season 4. Yeah, season 5 had the island. Season 4 was Damien Dark.
Yeah. It was the army stuff.
Yeah.
Season 2 was the.
Season 5 was Prometheus, and Prometheus invaded the city.
Yeah, but we're talking about like the last couple episodes, though. When they were in the island was I think 2 episodes, right? The 2 episodes before.
Like Deathstroke invaded the city, Malcolm invaded the city, Raish invaded the city. Like, it's just so much. I never got into Supergirl. I watched like the first 3 minutes of the pilot. I'm like, nope.
Yes, everyone was like that. I was
Can't-
like, yeah, I'm gonna
Can't
try.
get into it.
Oh hell, dude.
No, like last year I watched the pilot, like the whole pilot. I'm like, no. They also renewed Gotham for another
Final
season.
It's
Final
the
season.
final season, yeah.
Finally. Like seriously. The show's
Dude,
on
I love
way
like, dude,
too
my
long.
sister watches that. And I always count like, yo, yeah, that bully is actually Bruce's best friend, who becomes Hush.
Yeah.
He's not a bully. Like, why are they getting this wrong? Michael, I'm trying to watch the show. It's like, no, dude, no. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
Penguin isn't like this. Riddler.
Yeah.
Dude, my sister.
And Jim Gordon's girlfriend isn't Harley Quinn. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Like,
dude, I like
that
how
really
he's
pissed
like
me off. Yeah, I dropped it after season. I watched season 1, hated season 1, gave season 2 a chance, watched the first episode of season 2, and then dropped it because I hated the second episode of season 2. They also renewed Agents of Shield for a final season, but it's only 13 episodes, so it's like half the length. Which is, I know Agents of Shield has its fans. Like I dropped after like halfway.
Yeah, for me, it's like I hated season 1 until.
Season 1 was bad until the Winter Soldier stuff.
Yeah, then it started getting good.
And season 2 was really good. Season 3, the Inhuman stuff got kind of boring.
Yeah,
and then,
I like the Ghost Rider stuff a lot.
Yeah, that was season 4.
Yeah.
Which was I think this current season.
No, season 4 was last season. Season 5 is everything that's having to do with like Thanos and I think the Kree.
Yeah.
I haven't started season 5 yet because it's because I just haven't had the time to watch it. I'll watch it on Hulu soon though.
Yeah. And did you hear they're making a new Alfred series?
Yeah. I heard about that. It's a prequel, like him in the army. I believe.
Guess what? The Gotham showrunner is the head of it. So,
oh snap! So yeah, they're ending that Gotham to have an Alfred. That's interesting.
Yeah, and like it's only 10
how
episodes.
How they gonna explain how Alfred's getting older?
And it's
in a prequel.
It's like 10 episodes on the streaming service that I've never heard of. I forgot what the streaming service is called.
We'll get into the streaming service soon, but yeah. So what do we think about the shows Marvel DC fan of being renewed? Do we think that when do we think for these shows, these CW shows, that what's a stopping point? Because Green Arrow is running out of villains, and Green Arrow's like borrowing villains from Batman. I mean, Prometheus wasn't a Green Arrow villain, to be honest, and Ra's al Ghul wasn't. So it's like I don't even think Damien Dark was one for Green Arrow either.
Nope, I don't think so either.
Like the only one was the Dark Archer. Can we even say Slade and Deathstroke was one too?
Slade was kind of during like the Judd Winnick era of Green Arrow, but he kind of floats around.
Like he's more of like now he's more just like a DC villain.
Yeah,
like, he's not really like people kind of like tag him along with Batman, Green Arrow, or something like that. I just count him as like a villain to the DC universe.
Okay.
I don't know. Like a lot of these shows that like I've sort of just kind of dropped. Like I've been barely paying attention to any of them. Like Flash, I dropped. Legends, I dropped. Supergirl, didn't even touch. Gotham, first episode, and then dropped it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., first season, and then I just dropped it afterwards. Like Arrow, I've been sort of like going like on and off with it. Like the problem with Arrow is that it's running out of villains, and like the Flash is just like it's running out of ideas. So like I don't know how much longer they're gonna keep this cash cow running, but like I mean there has to be some point, especially for like Arrow's case, since it's been going on longer than any of the other shows has. So I mean so I don't know. It could be very soon. It could be like much later. So like, the only thing to really say is that like only time will tell. Like depending on the viewers and all that stuff. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and find out.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna go on the DC streaming service, right? They're having more content. I think that's great. We're gonna get into it quickly. Still no price. Nothing when it's launching. I don't know if it's launching this year. I don't think they've said. So like the we're gonna go for the list of things that are coming out in the. Is it the DC Universe streaming
it's
app?
just called DC Universe.
Okay, cool. Just like the DC Universe comics.
Yeah.
Okay, makes things better. So we're gonna have the Titan show, which I've said my piece on that. Hopefully it gets better. Young Justice. I think we got a couple images. I don't know if we got a trailer or not. I don't think
we just got images,
No.
and the images look kind of weird to me.
Okay, I've only seen like a couple.
Yeah.
Okay, so Young Justice, Swamp Thing, interesting. I'm hearing like James Wan is supposed to be doing that. I have no idea if that's true.
He's producing it.
Okay, he's producing it, but nothing on like if this is gonna be like an animated thing or a live action. No one knows.
I think it's gonna be a live action. I think
It's
he's
gonna
gonna
be
be live action. Yeah.
Okay. So we got that. We have Harley Quinn, which is supposed to be animated. 100% believe it's supposed to be animated. Has a voice of Margot Robbie as well. It's supposed to be. We've said this before. I think it's supposed to be like this mature Harley Quinn. Like, so that is what it is there. What else next? We also have. I think that's it. Besides the new announcement for the show for Doom Patrol. I have no idea what Doom Patrol is.
Doom Patrol is interesting. They're kind of hard to define. They were a team. They're kind of like the X-Men. They basically are the X-Men, but they came before the X-Men, and the X-Men kind of like ripped off their concept. They're like a group of freaks, and like there's this run by Grant Morrison that was really popular, and there's a run now that's really popular. They're just like a really weird niche team, and like there's like Robot Man who was a stunt driver in a car crash, and I think I'm mixing up the origins, but like he was a stunt driver in a car crash.
I think like the only thing I'd say like noteworthy about them to like bring up is that like Beast Boy was
a member of them
part of the team. Yeah.
And like the Doom Patrol has an episode in the Titans show, so that's probably what's gonna like go off into this series. And Jeff Johns is producing the Doom Patrol show, so
okay, and that's it for the shows, right? I'm not missing anything.
That's it so far.
Okay. We still have no idea price, time frame when it launches. Just these shows are being made.
The time frame is 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to have at least like a couple of shows before it launches. Well, not before, like right when it launches, right?
I think Titans just wrapped filming.
Huh?
I think Titans just wrapped. Like
it wrapped?
A couple episodes, yeah. Like the first few episodes.
Okay.
Oh no. I heard they wrapped something with Titans.
Okay. So I guess what are our thoughts? I guess with everything, I go, say, it's cool. Doom Patrol sounds interesting. I've said my piece on Titans. I'm very like low expectations. Harley Quinn, but that's like for me like a throwaway. I feel like that's aimed for people that are like obsessed with Harley Quinn. And this isn't. I don't think this is even catered to the women. I think it's more catered to like the guys that are obsessed with Harley Quinn. From what we've heard in the past, right? supposed to be like mature and all this and whatever. Swamp Thing, I don't have any much details about it. I find it interesting that they're doing it. Be cool to see. Other than that, I think they just need to keep, saying more things because this is a streaming service. They want your money, and they need to kind of get to that level where Netflix is at, producing shows. And that's why Netflix is so successful is with the amount of shows they're producing, movies that they're producing. I also think the DC Universe app needs to have like all like those animated shows and movies incorporated into the streaming app. I think that'll also help increase the value worth of the DC Universe streaming app. So like having like even like Batman the Animated Series, having that like unlock right there. So I'm able to watch, all the animated series for Batman, Superman, Justice League Unlimited, all of that. And even put the DC Universe movies, because I don't know if they're trying to connect any of it to the cinematic universe for DC. I have no idea. They never said. It's interesting.
They're trying to keep them as separate as possible.
Okay. Because having Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in that TV show.
I think it's just because she's Margot Robbie and everyone liked her. Well, not everyone, but she was a very popular in Suicide Squad. So
okay,
but I like Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So I think having the animated shows like that, like the old shows, even like Adam West, Adam West like Batman and like the old Wonder Woman TV shows. I think that also should be incorporated there, and that'll also make me want to subscribe and stuff like that. But what do we think at the value? What do you think that they should add to it in terms of like archives and whatnot? We'll go with Inspector.
What I think they should add is, I think what you said, like including all the shows, they should add all like the old animated stuff. Batman animated series, Justice League Unlimited, and since they're putting Young Justice Season 3 on there, put the first 2 seasons of Young Justice on there. Make like a Marvel Unlimited service with all the comics, like not all the comics, but like your back catalog of comics. And I think if you would do that, because I think Marvel Unlimited is like $5.99 a month or like $6.99 a month. And if rumors are true that this is like $10 or $15, I think that would make sense because we have like the shows plus the animated stuff plus the comics catalog. I think that would be worth like $15.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a hefty subscription, but it would be worth it.
Okay, what do you think, Marvel DC fan? Like, what do you think they should incorporate?
I'm on like the same level as you guys, like the old animated stuff and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not really gonna say what has already been said, but like just to get like my thoughts on like the state of the streaming service right now. I'm only excited. The only thing I'm really excited for is like Young Justice, because like every other announcement, like it sounds interesting, but like going off of like the Titan show, which like it's hard to get excited. So like I think for me, I'll probably just like wait probably a little like while after some stuff has come out to see how the quality of the shows are, and then maybe try it. But me personally, I'm more of like a physical kind of person. Like I buy like all my movies and stuff and TV shows physically. So yeah.
I feel you. So I guess now I want to quickly go into here we go. Daredevil Season 3, there's been some interesting like developments for Daredevil Season 3, and we're going to quickly talk about it. So, Daredevil Season 3 is currently shooting. New details about the upcoming season are slowly emerging. First, it looks like Matt Murdock is giving up his red costume and going back to the black suit he wore in Season 1. Second, Bullseye might be joining the series. Makes sense. They've been like heavily alluding to Bullseye for a while since Season 1, and it makes sense that that they've been after the Defenders going for the Born Again, the very like famous storyline for Daredevil. Having Bullseye part of it makes sense. Having Kingpin makes sense. Granted, it's not a straight adaptation. They're changing things like having Bullseye there, but having Kingpin's like the main integral part for it. And it also makes sense as to the ending why he might just do the black suit. So the Defender series that brought together all of Marvel and Netflix's great superheroes ended with Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, left for dead in a building explosion, but Matt survived. When we last saw him, he was being nursed back to health by some nuns, one of whom might be his long-lost mother. Daredevil Season 3 will be about Matt getting back in fighting Trim and taking up the mantle of Daredevil again. And apparently when Matt returns to his life of fighting crime, he's giving up his Daredevil suit. Some new set photos have emerged that reveal the character Charlie Cox wearing the black suit he wore most of the first season of Daredevil 1. And we've heard from reliable sources that these scenes are not meant to be flashbacks from the first season and are new scenes of Matt out on patrol. So now we're going to Bullseye. Take this one with a grain of salt, but there's a rumor around via the hashtag show that actor Wilson Bethel is playing Bullseye, one of Daredevil's main antagonists from the comics. And Bethel was announced as part of the Daredevil Season 3 cast last year. At the time, specific details of Bethel's role were being kept under wraps. Variety reported that Bethel was playing an FBI agent who will play a critical role in the conflict between Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin. That really does not sound like Bullseye, who's traditionally a psychopathic assassin. Then again, Daredevil has already changed the combat backgrounds of several of its characters, so changing Bullseye into an FBI agent wouldn't be entirely unexpected. Of course, there's also a chance that hashtag show got this wrong, and Bethel isn't playing Bullseye after all. And Bullseye was previously portrayed on the screen by Colin Farrell. I can't. I'm done with this now because I just Colin Farrell.
Bullseye. He was Bullseye.
Dude, yeah. I'm just like, dude, that brings like Vietnam flashback. Like, dude, ruined that movie. Like, did you guys not hear that? Supposedly, he didn't want to wear the costume, and they had to put the bullseye on his forehead because of that. Because he wanted, like, in his contract to have his face shown. So dumb.
Oh my god.
So dumb.
So
Ben Affleck has no problem with wearing suits and masks, but Colin Farrell, that's crossing the line, man. Need my face.
So you gave him an indented bullseye in his head and like a weird like alligator coat. Yeah, that makes perfect sense there.
Yeah. So I guess we can. Let me search this dude that they were saying who may play Bullseye, because I have no idea who that dude is. What they were talking about, Wilson Bethel, or what he's been in, because I don't know if that's like a new actor. We're going to the IMDb. So okay, interesting. So he's listed in Daredevil. He's been How to Get Away with Murder, Harley and Davidson's Base Motel, Heart of Dixie, and I think that's it in terms of what, like, the more popular things, right? I guess my quick thoughts, makes sense why he would be in the black costume, because probably his suit is damaged, just for one. Two, everyone thinks he's dead. May just want to kind of be on the low, using his old costume, right? That could be a thing. This Colin Farrell. I mean, yet again, right? Oh, Wilson Bethel. Sorry, not Colin Farrell. Wilson Bethel, right? He's being this new, being this new, possibly FBI agent. Could be a legitimate role, right? Or he could be straight up Bullseye. And I don't think also people realize, an assassin could, fake a role, fake their role to kill somebody. It's not hard. Like you've seen that many times in the comics. You've seen that with, Slade, where he's in like different costumes and different, as a security guard or something like that. It's not hard, right? So that makes sense. But overall, to me, I think that's good. From what I'm hearing, I'm liking. It seems like a big conflict with, Wilson Fisk, and we're probably gonna get the reveal that he's gonna find out that Daredevil, is Matt Murdock, which I think is gonna be really good. I think that's gonna be good in terms of storytelling, and they've hinted at this in season 2 and now the Defenders. What do we think, Marvel DC fan, about this?
I mean, like, I'm excited, personally, because, like, going off of, like, what happened in the Defenders, I'm kind of curious to see, like, him getting healed up, and maybe, like, we'll get to see his mother and all that kind of stuff. And also the return of the black costume from the first season, which I actually really like that costume, so I'm glad it's sort of making a comeback. But like details like the whole like Bullseye FBI thing, like it sounded odd to me at first, but like you said, it could be just a cover up for what Bullseye really is. So yeah. I mean, there's that, and also I think if they're taking inspiration from Born Again, it seems likely that Kingpin will find out who Matt Murdock is. So yeah, like how I feel the season's gonna go is that like the first couple episodes we'll get to see like him healing up. He'll go back to the city in the black suit, patrol for a while, deal with Bullseye coming up, and then around the end we'll get to like the Kingpin stuff of him finding out his identity. So, and also maybe we'll get like an updated version of the like his normal costume, because I don't feel like they're just gonna throw that away entirely. So
he might get the double D's on his chest.
Yeah,
possibly.
So possibly. So I feel that that would be the structure of the season. Like that's just me, but yeah. But I'm excited overall.
Yeah. I think that's like the one show that I'm like looking forward to, from like compared to what Luke Cage, right? Or like if I had to choose like Luke Cage or Daredevil, from what I'm hearing, I'm like, having more anticipation for Daredevil season 3. That's just me though. So what about you?
I'll take Daredevil over.
Yeah,
I'll take Daredevil over Luke Cage any day.
So, what do you think, Inspector? What do you think about this news?
I feel it's interesting. Like, I haven't watched a Netflix Marvel show since Daredevil season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of fell off of it and kind of lost interest because, like, I watched the first episode of Luke Cage, didn't go back to it. Watched like the first 4 episodes of Jessica Jones, didn't go back to it. Never watched Defenders, didn't get to Punisher. I just feel like the Netflix Marvel shows suffer from filler, where the seasons go on for like 3 or 4 episodes too long, where I think that it would be better if it was like a solid 8 or 9 episodes and not 13. I mean, it would be interesting to see Bullseye there.
I would say you were right with like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and even Punisher to an extent. I think Punisher should have just been 10 episodes, because there's like 1 or 2 episodes that didn't need to happen. But I felt like Daredevil has always been balanced.
Daredevil was solid.
Episodes.
Yeah, Daredevil was solid. Both seasons of Daredevil were solid.
Mm-hmm. But like, do you think that, following like the Born Again storyline, you think that that's wise and you think that's good for them to do?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, it's a good storyline, but then like it's gonna be hard to follow through with another season, I feel, after doing like the Born Again storyline, because I can't tell you like what other storyline they can follow, because Born Again was the most famous out of the Daredevil storylines, and probably one of the best storylines for Daredevil, right? And then having Wilson Fisk is probably like one of like the best like villain TV shows and stuff like that, and it's just like after doing that and having Wilson Fisk as a I guess second season villain. I want to say second season. You know what I mean? Like this, like being two seasons as a villain, right? And I think that's good in a way, but then that can also be negative for some people, I guess. But you just need that character development, and then that makes it better, right? But then, like that's also why I had problems with like a lot of like Arrow sometimes. And Flash is like they kill off their like villains, and that's where I'm just like, oh. And like the Marvel Cinematic Universe too, is most of the time they kill off their villains, like spoiler alert, like for Black Panther, like Killmonger could be a really great villain for future entries, right? And that's like the issue with Marvel sometimes too. And yeah, so now we're gonna go into Marvel Studios, which I don't know how I feel about this. Marvel Studios movie moving forward with Eternals movie. Marvel Studios has hired Matthew and Ryan Firpo to write a script for a potential Eternals movie. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the Firpos wrote a spec script titled Ruin that climbed to the top of the Blacklist charts, which is an annual survey of some of the best screenplays never produced. The Eternals were created by comic book legend Jack Kirby in 1976, following the story of a group of genetically modified humans who were experimented on by the Celestial millions of years ago. Some of the notable characters from the series include Akaris, who can manipulate cosmic energy, and Thena, who has telekinetic abilities. Back in April, Marvel Studios president and producer Kevin Feige confirmed the studio was looking into making movies based on Nova and the Eternals. Eternals is one of the many things that we are actively beginning to have creative discussions about to see if we believe in them enough to put them on a slate. Looking ahead, Disney CEO Bob Iger told The Hollywood Reporter that a brand new superhero team that wasn't the Avengers could be on its way. I'm guessing we'll try our hand at what I'll call a new franchise beyond Avengers, Iger said, adding, but that doesn't necessarily mean you won't see more Avengers down the road. We just haven't made any announcements about that. Now, I know some people will be happy. I know some people are going to be skeptical like me. And I'm the same way with... So, from what I heard, Jack Kirby like makes a lot of like very complex stories. Like we have like with the New Gods, right?
Yeah, Jack Kirby created the New Gods, and like he created a lot of stuff, a lot of cosmic stuff for both companies. Yeah,
so like this is like one of like the ones that's like super cosmic, and it's like hard to adapt. So it's like I don't know how I feel. Just like how the same thing with there's two things about New Gods why I'm just like about like the whole like New Gods is super complicated, and then you got Ava DuVernay directing it, which I'm just like no thank you. I mean, I'm not gonna be the ones that are like it's going to be amazing. This is going to be a big risk for Marvel, I feel. Not in terms of bank account, but in terms of like trying to do something out there. And like, this is, it seems like they want to get out some of their movie formulaic experience, which it's going to be hard to do something like that, I feel, because it's just out there. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's super complicated, and like what Inspector said, Jack Kirby creates these like out there stories that it's just gonna have trouble adapting. We'll start off with Inspector. What do you think about this?
I mean, it's a big risk for Marvel, even though Marvel has already made big risks. Like Guardians of the Galaxy was a risk and it paid off. Ant-Man was a risk and it paid off, kind of. Like it's one of their lowest grossing movies, but for an Ant-Man movie to make like $600 million, like that's a steal. And to have a sequel coming out in 2 months, like pretty much exactly 2 months actually. But I feel like this Eternals movie would be too conceptual for people to understand, just because it's like there's a reason why in Guardians of the Galaxy they just give you like, when it comes to the Celestials, they just give you like the Cliff Notes version of the Celestials. They don't go like in depth on the Celestials, because the Celestials were also a Jack Kirby creation, and those are even probably more confusing than the Eternals. Because with like the Celestials, you have like Eternity and like all those different like Infinity and like all those like cosmic beings that are like really confusing to explain. So this is a risk, but like knowing Marvel, they can simplify it and make $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what do you think, Marvel DC fan, about this?
I mean, like, it is like a huge risk, because I feel like this is like maybe a little way too out there for like not only like, I mean, the general public, like nobody knows what that is. Like even Marvel, that's like a little out there, but like I feel that like they can pull it off. Like I don't think it'll make like an enormous like stack of cash, but like, you know, like if it's written well and like the movie's like okay, like I feel like that will like just be enough for a movie like that. That's all I'll say.
All right, interesting. Okay, so here we go. So we've heard, Deadpool has been getting good reviews and stuff like that. This is for people that like Deadpool. What I've gathered from reviews, if you like Deadpool, it's going to be a movie for you. If you didn't like Deadpool, then it's not going to be a movie for you. Essentially, that's what I got from it. So here it is. Deadpool is set to have a 350 million worldwide opening. Deadpool 2 is set to have an impressive worldwide box office opening per deadline. The sequel is supposed to make between 305 million to 350 million worldwide this weekend. This is split between 130 million to 150 million domestically and 175 million to 200 million internationally. For context, Deadpool made an estimated 132 million domestically and 132 million internationally, making for a combined 264 million worldwide debut, according to Box Office Mojo. It opened in the theaters Valentine's Day and President's Day, 4-day holiday, and February 12th, 2016. And Logan, which came out last year in early March, had an estimated 247 million worldwide opening, while this year's Black Panther made roughly 371 million globally in its first weekend, according to Box Office Mojo. So that seems like good numbers for Deadpool, especially, it's a rated R film. I think it's going to break, the records for Deadpool 1 for, this is going to be like the highest grossing, like R-rated movie. And, takes risk, and everyone that likes Deadpool 1 will like Deadpool 2. And I heard it's supposed to have a really good post-credit scene, so you guys should see that. I don't know what it is yet, because I haven't seen it. I will be seeing it tomorrow at 10:30, and I hopefully I'll enjoy it. I like Deadpool 1, so it seems like I will like Deadpool 2 based off reviewers and what they've said. And yeah, and Fox is doing their thing, man. They made Logan, they made Deadpool 1, 2. They're kind of like finding their, I don't know what to say, like their like rhythm for these movies. Uh, what do we think, over DC fan, about this?
Um, I mean, like, I'm excited. Like, I really enjoyed the first movie, so I'm pretty certain that, like, I'm gonna enjoy it just as much with the sequel, maybe even a little more. If there's anything I'm really worried about is that, like, Cable will be, like, overshadowed by, like, X-Force and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's the only, like, big worry, like, I have. But, because I really like Josh Brolin, jeez. And he seems like he'll do really, like, good as Cable, but, like, I just feel like from what we've seen of, like, the trailers and stuff like that, like, I don't feel like we're gonna get too much of him. So, I mean, it seems a little upsetting, but, like, besides that, like, everything else is looking good, and it's funny, and action's, like, spot on, so can't wait.
Nice. What do we think about the numbers, Inspector?
I think it's good. Knowing that this is a sequel and knowing that it's gonna make more than the first Deadpool opening weekend is good. As Marvel DC fans said, I think most of the characters are going to be overshadowed by Deadpool just because this is a Deadpool movie. But I've heard Domino has some good, like, Domino is really good. I heard even though Cable, like, I've heard in reviews that Cable, like, I haven't read reviews, I've just, like, watched
Kind of
it.
heard, yeah, like like from other people on
I
Twitter.
kind of heard that Cable does have a really small role in the movie, but they said that Josh Brolin did a really good job as Cable, even though he had a really small role in the movie. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably see it over the weekend. Maybe I'll see it tomorrow, depending on how I feel.
Nice.
I want to see it.
Also, a question to you guys: how do you feel that Ryan Reynolds doesn't know, like, if he wants to do a Deadpool 3? Like, we know he's going to do an X-Force movie, right? But how do we feel like he doesn't know if he wants to do a Deadpool 3? You think it's just because, like, usually, like, actors would say, "Oh, I would love to do a sequel." It's kind of like out left field, like that he would say something like that, right? For me, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because he just doesn't think like usually, like, the third movie doesn't do as good as, like, the second or first. Maybe that's his thought process. Maybe he's just willing to do an X-Force movie, and maybe two X-Force movies, and then he's just like, I guess that's it. Like, what do we think about, like, his, like, reason, or just stating that? We'll start off with Inspector.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Ryan Reynolds not knowing about doing a Deadpool 3.
I mean, since he is a producer on these movies, and basically these are his movies, it would kind of make sense, knowing that I don't think David Leitch would want to do another one, so he would kind of need to do another
and he's
director.
supposed to be doing, like, a final, no, dang it, Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, so he's gonna be busy, and, like, I feel if Ryan, like, I like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, but you could only be Deadpool for so long, because I feel that Deadpool is good in short doses, and I feel if there's too much Deadpool, he kind of gets grating. So I would like to see Ryan Reynolds go off and do some other stuff.
So are you fine, though, like, having him in an X-Force movie, though?
Oh yeah, it's fine. Deadpool leads X-Force.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was asking. What about you, Marvel DC fan? What do you think about Ryan Reynolds saying that?
I mean, like, I'd say, like, it's understandable. Like, doing, like, a trilogy of superhero movies is kind of hard. Like, keeping that that steam going for like 3 movies in a row, it can get uh, a little kind of convoluted, and some things kind of like lose their factor over time. Uh, I'd be perfectly fine like him doing X-Force and stuff like that, and I would totally understand if they didn't do a Deadpool 3, because for me, I'm on the same level like Inspector, where like Deadpool is like he's good in small doses, and if you oversaturate him, like it gets a little tiring. So uh, if they do a Deadpool 3, uh, of course, I mean, we'll all go see it. But if not, then I mean, I'd be fine with it. Him doing X-Force, that's good. So, yeah.
Yeah. So some breaking news. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. So actor James Ranson will feature, this is for It Chapter 2, for the Adult Losers Club members. So James Ranson will feature as the adult Eddie in the upcoming It Chapter 2. Andy Bean will play Stanley. And this is news of each casting comes via Deadline Variety. Ranson recently completed work on Hulu's upcoming series, the first, which is about humanity's first mission to Mars. Ranson stars in the series alongside Sean Penn and Natasha McElhone. He's previously starred in Amazon's Bosch, as well as HBO's Stream, The Wire, and Generation Kill. Andy Bean previously featured in HBO's Here and Now, as well as Power on Stars. Ranson and Bean will join previously cast stars Jessica Chastain, Bill Hader, and James McAvoy, plus Bill Skarsgård, who will return as Pennywise. I completely forgot. We never talked about that. James McAvoy is in this movie. I forgot who James McAvoy is. I think he's Billy, right? No, not Billy. Yeah, Billy.
Oh.
Let me look on IMDb just real quick. IMDb at Chapter 2. Here we go. Do we have the cast? Yeah, Jessica is Beverly.
Beverly.
James is Bill.
Bill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Bill Hader is Richie. Sophia Lillis. Yeah. Because okay, cool. Honestly, I think the casting's good from what I've seen. I know people were debating whether or not Amy Adams as Beverly. I think Jessica's another good choice. Hasn't Jessica also worked with I forget his name, the director.
Oh,
Musanetti? Is it Mus?
Yeah, Muscaletti.
Yeah, she's worked on I think other films with him, so it made sense, right? Yeah. James McAvoy, I think, will play a good Billy, But overall, what do we feel about this? And overall, for me, I think that's good. I actually have no problem with the casting whatsoever, and I'm excited to see it Chapter 2. We'll start with Marvel DC fan.
I'd say the casting, all the casting so far, it seems like it works for the movie, and I enjoyed Chapter 1. I thought it was a really good movie, and I'm excited to see what they do with Chapter 2 with the Adult Losers Club. So,
yeah. What about you, Inspector? Think this is good, bad, awful, depressing? Who knows?
I think it's good. I like the cast. I think Chastain is a good choice. I think McAvoy is a good choice. I think all these are good choices. I like it a lot. I'm looking forward to Chapter 2.
Yeah, same thing, man. I forgot. When is this movie supposed to come out? I completely forgot.
I think it's next. That was next September. Not this September, but next September.
Yeah, September 6th, 2019. You're right.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
All right. So we have have we like noticed on Twitter, like supposedly Deadpool's freaking marketing is insane. Like all the Fox movies are getting the treatment with Deadpool in it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like My Cousin Vinny, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Edward Scissorhands, like all Deadpool. This is like hilarious. Like War for the Planet of the Apes, you got Deadpool with the water gun. Like what? Like the Terminator. Like, dude, this is like hilarious Fight Club. I gotta give props, like Assassin's Creed as well. Like, geez. I'm tempted to like buy one of these. Like, do I get the cover? Like, I would love that. But like, you guys think this is like clever marketing? Yes, no? Quick answers.
Yeah. I think it's typical Deadpool marketing. Like, I feel maybe it's a bit too late in the game to do this, but because for the first Deadpool, they would do that like 6 months in advance. But I mean, it's cool marketing. It's typical Deadpool marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It fits Deadpool.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Marvel?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like it is, it would be like that typical kind of Deadpool comedy humor marketing, and like, I think, oh geez, I feel like I would be on the same page where like it would work. It would have worked better with the first movie, and it feels like kind of late into the game, like right now, since the movie is coming out like in a couple days. So
yeah.
But like it is really funny, like the fact that like that it's poking fun at like Fox and all the movies, like a bunch of movies that they've made over the years, some really good ones. So it's funny. I really like it.
All right, so we got one more movie topic to quickly discuss, and this has to do with the China box office for Avengers: Infinity War, and whether or not they, went out with a bang or a whimper, who knows? But right now, we're going to talk of how much they got. This is going off the Wall Street Journal, right? Actually, not the Wall Street Journal, because here we go. So the Avengers Infinity War train continues to roll towards its fourth weekend in theaters, and the box office haul continues to stack toward that milestone 2 billion mark. Monday may have been slower on the domestic front, 4.6 million, but internationally, that doesn't make sense, 4.6. Oh, Monday may have been slower on the domestic front, 4.6 million. That makes sense. It's a Monday. But internationally, Marvel continues to crush it, adding 261 million. Okay, well, this is so weird, the way they put it. Avengers Infinity War scored 30.7 million, 4.6 million. Why are they doing Mondays? I don't care about that. Okay. Why Mondays? That's so weird. My bad, fams. They kind of messed me up here. Okay, here we go. So Avengers Infinity War crushed it in China this weekend with a confirmed 199.3 million debut. Start was 700K off the Sunday estimate. Either way, the Disney movies becomes the second biggest industry 3 days behind the Fate of the Furious that helped push the Anthony Joe Russo juggernaut across the 1 billion mark of the international box office with 1,059.5. The global cum through Sunday is $1,607.6 million. The worldwide figure makes Infinity War the biggest MCU title, passing the Avengers. The superpower threequel is now the number 5 global release of all time. The worldwide weekend was worth a staggering $343.6 million, which was a mega field by China where the Avengers collected enough stones to already exceed the entire runs. So yeah, will the global Infinity War total get to 2 billion at roughly 400 million from the benchmark? It's a question. China will likely throw off a 1.5 plus multiple, but recall that Deadpool 2 starts mouthing off this week in most international markets, not China, and he's expected to do the business. After that, there's a host of global tempos to follow. We'll see how China and other markets do in the midweeks and what the holds are versus Deadpool 2. So for now, I don't know. I don't think it's going to cross 2 billion. It will be insane if it does. I think it'll get to like, I'm going to say it's going to get to 1.9 billion. That's for my estimate. I'll be surprised if it makes it to 2 billion. But that's like really like my thoughts on that. I think, it's making money. Making a lot of money for the superhero market, and we have people like James Cameron said the fatigue is he hopes for the fatigue to set in, and well, it's not happening anytime soon. So you're gonna have to suck it up, James Cameron, my man, and hopefully your movie will exceed $1 billion, but I highly doubt it. That's just me though. What about you, Spectre?
Yeah, I think it will probably make 2 billion. I think how it's doing in China is great, and I think that's what's gonna put it over 2 billion. I think it has like a few other markets to go. I think it still has like Japan, because things always come out Japan later. But yeah, I think those other markets will help it cross 2 billion, since it's already at like 1.6 right now, almost 1.7, and it's like only 2 weeks or 3 weeks from release. And knowing that this movie is going to be in theaters for like, I don't know, like 5 or so months, it will make 2 billion, but I don't think it will reach Avatar. I think it will reach like probably like Force Awakens levels, but probably not Avatar.
Yeah, totally agree. You feel the superhero fatigue? You think there's superhero fatigue from these numbers?
No.
No.
And judging from the Deadpool 2 numbers, I would say no.
Yeah, exactly.
To that as well.
All right. What about you, Marvel DC fan? What do you think about these numbers? You think it's gonna hit the 2 billion or no?
I mean, it's looking really good so far. It's powering through, making money. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way. Like if it made more than like 2 million, 2 billion, whatever, or like if it like doesn't quite get there, but it's close. If I had to put an estimate, like maybe around 1.8, 1.9, somewhere in that margin. So, like, I mean, it can go either way, but I think the like important thing is that people are going to see the movie and see all the things that'll happen around the end. So it's good.
Nice. All right, guys. This is it for all the topics we're gonna talk about for this episode. We're gonna talk some couple other comics topics for next week. But yeah, hopefully Taladio will be in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching this as a past broadcast or watching this live. Show your support by giving the video a thumbs up. Hit us up in the comment section with any questions, anything you disagreed with, agreed with. We'll answer. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content from us. Hit the bell notification so you guys can get updated as to when the live streams occur. That's great to do. And yeah, and also I will be live streaming on Twitch tomorrow. I don't know what game yet. Something maybe I don't know, a multiplayer game or it could be a single player game. I have no idea at the moment, but look forward to that, and that'll be on Twitch. Inspector, where can they find you at?
Now they can find me on Twitter at the Inspector.
And also, Roll DC fan, where can they find you at? What's going to be happening with your channel? Any updates?
Well, I mean, of course, there's my YouTube and Twitter, which is both Marvel DC Fan X99. In terms of updates, I have a video that's going to be coming out later this week, kind of telling you where I've been for the past few weeks, what's been going on. So keep in touch with that. And of course, subscribe, like, comment, share, all that stuff. And, I'll catch you all later. So.
And also, I forgot, Inspector, tell the people about the article you wrote.
Oh, yeah. I wrote an article for Comic Book Debate. It dropped last week, and it's about Hal Jordan and Sinestro and their friendship, and how that was a theme during Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. It was a long time coming, and I'm happy it finally got published, and I'm happy of all the good feedback I've gotten from it so far.
And a question for you: you think you're not writing any more like articles like after this, or?
Hopefully, yeah. I have a lot of ideas in my head, but it's just a way of like articulating my thoughts. That's the hard part. I actually already have another article that's done. Like it's been sitting as a saved document for like, I don't know, like a few months now. Because I was just waiting for this article to drop to see the reaction to it. And since I've gotten good reactions, I will try to run it through the guys on the site. But I need to fix it up. It needs some fixing up, but hopefully I can become a full-time writer for that site, since school is over now and I have more time during the summer.
Nice. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. So, guys, thank you for watching. This is the Overleveled podcast. Signing off.
See you later, guys.
Take care.